Airports can feel overwhelming, especially if walking long distances, standing in lines, or rushing between gates has become difficult. Wheelchair assistance exists specifically to make flying safer and less stressful, yet many passengers hesitate to use it. Some worry it's only for people with permanent disabilities. Others fear embarrassment, delays, or extra costs. The truth is very different. Wheelchair assistance is a standard service airlines are required to offer, and it's used every day by travelers of all ages. Seniors, people recovering from surgery, travelers with balance issues, joint pain, fatigue, or hidden conditions all qualify. What airlines don't explain clearly is how this service really works, what you're entitled to, and how to use it the right way to avoid frustration. When used correctly, wheelchair assistance can completely change your airport experience: shorter walks, faster navigation, less physical strain, and smoother boarding. When used incorrectly or misunderstood, it can lead to long waits, confusion, or missed connections. That's why knowing the hidden details matters. In this video, we're breaking down the real secrets airlines don't openly explain about wheelchair assistance, so you can use it confidently and correctly. If you or someone you travel with has ever felt exhausted before even reaching the gate, this information can make a huge difference. Before we get into the secrets, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We share practical travel advice airlines rarely explain, especially for seniors and frequent flyers who want smoother, stress-free trips. Now let's get into how wheelchair assistance really works and what airlines don't tell you. 1. You do not need a disability to request wheelchair assistance. One of the biggest secrets airlines don't clearly explain is that you do not need to be officially disabled to request wheelchair assistance. This service is not limited to people who permanently use wheelchairs. It is available to anyone who cannot comfortably walk long distances, stand for extended periods, or move quickly through an airport. That includes seniors, people with knee or hip pain, balance issues, heart conditions, breathing problems, fatigue, recent injuries, or recovery from surgery. Airlines rarely say this openly, which causes many passengers to struggle unnecessarily. Airports today are massive. Walking from curb to gate can involve long corridors, security lines, moving walkways, and multiple terminals. For many travelers, especially older adults, this can cause exhaustion before the flight even begins. Another hidden detail is that requesting wheelchair assistance does not affect how airlines view you as a passenger. It does not label you, downgrade your service, or create penalties. Airlines are legally required to provide this assistance under accessibility regulations. Another important point is that you can request wheelchair assistance even if you plan to walk part of the journey. Some passengers use it only from check-in to the gate or only during connections. You are allowed to adjust how much help you need. Another thing airlines don't explain is that you can request wheelchair assistance for just one direction: departure, arrival, or both. You are also allowed to change your mind mid-trip. Using wheelchair assistance is about safety and comfort, not weakness. Knowing that you don't need a permanent disability removes the biggest mental barrier preventing travelers from using a service designed to help them. 2. Requesting wheelchair assistance. Early changes everything. Another secret airlines don't emphasize is how important timing is when requesting wheelchair assistance. While you can request it at the airport, doing so late often leads to long waits and frustration. The best time to request wheelchair assistance is when booking your ticket or immediately after. Airlines schedule staff based on advance requests. When requests come in last minute, airports may be understaffed, especially during busy travel periods. Seniors who request assistance early are far more likely to experience smooth service, minimal waiting, and timely boarding. Another overlooked detail is that you should reconfirm wheelchair assistance 24 to 48 hours before your flight. Airlines don't always automatically carry the request forward after schedule changes or rebookings. Reconfirming ensures the request is active in the system. Another hidden tip is to mention wheelchair assistance again at check-in, even if it's already noted. This creates a paper trail and alerts ground staff. Airlines don't explain that there are different types of wheelchair assistance. You can request help to the gate only, help through connections, or help all the way to baggage claim. Being specific helps staff assign the right resources. Another detail is that early requests often get priority handling through security and boarding coordination. This can reduce standing time significantly. Late requests often mean waiting until staff become available. Timing is the difference between wheelchair assistance feeling like a relief or a hassle. Airlines don't advertise this because it requires planning, but passengers who know this secret benefit the most. 3. Wheelchair assistance often makes boarding, connections, and deplaning easier. One of the biggest misconceptions airlines never correct is the idea that wheelchair assistance will slow you down or complicate your trip. In reality, when used correctly, it often makes the entire travel process smoother, faster, and far less stressful. Airports are designed around speed, but not passenger comfort. Long corridors, sudden gate changes, and tight connection times punish anyone who moves slowly or tires easily. Wheelchair assistance staff are trained specifically to move through these environments efficiently. They know which elevators are working, which pathways avoid crowds, and how to coordinate with gate agents in real time. This insider knowledge saves time and energy. Another hidden advantage is boarding order. Passengers using wheelchair assistance are usually boarded early, not late. This allows time to get seated safely without pressure from passengers behind you. Early boarding also means more overhead bin availability near your seat, reducing stress and physical strain. Seniors often fear being rushed or embarrassed during boarding, but wheelchair assistance actually reduces attention and chaos. Another secret airlines don't explain is how wheelchair assistance helps during connections. Large airports can require long walks between terminals, sometimes involving trains, escalators, or multiple security zones. Wheelchair staff coordinate these transfers efficiently, reducing the risk of missed flights. They communicate with ground teams and gate agents, especially when connections are tight. Another overlooked benefit is deplaning. After landing, wheelchair assistance can meet you at the aircraft door, eliminating the need to rush or stand in crowded aisles. This is especially helpful after long flights when stiffness, fatigue, or joint pain are worse. Airlines rarely explain that you can request assistance for arrival, even if you walked onto the plane independently. Using wheelchair assistance is not about inability. It's about preserving energy, reducing injury risk, and making travel humane. Passengers who use it often arrive less exhausted and more confident, proving that assistance often speeds things up rather than slowing them down. 4. You control how much help you receive, and you can change it anytime. Another critical secret airlines don't clearly explain is that wheelchair assistance is flexible. Many travelers assume that once they request it, they must use it from start to finish, or that it locks them into a rigid process. That is not true. You control how much assistance you receive, and you can adjust it at any point during your journey. If you feel strong at departure but tired on arrival, you can request assistance only at your destination. If you need help through security but prefer to walk at the gate, that choice is yours. Airlines don't advertise this flexibility, which causes people to avoid requesting help altogether. Another hidden detail is that you can communicate preferences directly to the staff assisting you. You can ask to walk short distances, take breaks, or move at a slower pace. You can request restroom stops, water breaks, or time to stretch. Wheelchair staff are trained to adapt, but they rely on passengers to speak up. Another overlooked point is that accepting wheelchair assistance does not remove your independence. You are still in control of your belongings, decisions, and pace. Staff are there to support, not rush or override you. Another important detail is that you can stop using wheelchair assistance if you feel better mid-trip. There is no penalty for declining further help. Seniors often worry about inconveniencing staff, but this service exists specifically to adapt to passenger needs. Airlines don't emphasize this because flexibility requires communication, but knowing this removes fear and hesitation. Wheelchair assistance is not an all-or-nothing commitment. It is a customizable tool designed to make travel safer and more manageable. Understanding that you remain in control allows you to use the service confidently, without guilt or embarrassment, and only to the extent that helps you most. 5. Wheelchair assistance is not a favor, it is a right. Airlines are required to provide one of the most important truths airlines rarely explain clearly is that wheelchair assistance is not a courtesy, upgrade, or favor. It is a legal right protected by accessibility laws in many countries. Airlines often frame it as a service to make it sound optional or limited, which leads passengers to feel hesitant or guilty about using it. In reality, airlines are required to provide wheelchair assistance to any passenger who requests it, regardless of age, ticket type, or fare class. Seniors often avoid requesting help because they don't want to feel like a burden or think they're taking resources away from someone else. That mindset is exactly what airlines rely on to reduce demand. Another hidden truth is that airlines budget and staff for wheelchair assistance every single day. Airports have dedicated teams whose sole job is assisting passengers with mobility needs. When travelers avoid using the service, it doesn't save the airline money in a meaningful way. It simply shifts physical strain onto passengers who don't need to suffer through it. Another detail airlines don't explain is that wheelchair assistance applies across the entire journey, from curb to gate, gate to aircraft, aircraft to connection, and aircraft to baggage claim. Many passengers mistakenly think assistance ends at security or the gate. You are entitled to continuous support unless you choose otherwise. Another hidden aspect is that airlines are not allowed to question or challenge your need for assistance. You do not need to provide medical documentation, diagnosis, or explanation. If you ask, they must provide. Some passengers fear being judged or interrogated, but staff are trained not to ask why. Another important point is that using wheelchair assistance does not affect your ability to fly independently in the future. Airlines do not mark you as disabled forever. or restrict future bookings. Each trip is treated individually. Another overlooked truth is that wheelchair assistance can reduce liability for airlines. When passengers struggle through airports and get injured, airlines face risk. Providing assistance protects both sides. That's why the service exists. Airlines don't openly emphasize this because it reframes assistance as a right, not a kindness. When passengers understand this, they stop apologizing for needing help. Wheelchair assistance exists to protect your safety, dignity, and health. Using it is not asking for special treatment. It is exercising a right that exists specifically to prevent injury, exhaustion, and unnecessary stress during travel. 6. Knowing how to communicate with wheelchair staff changes the entire experience. Another secret airlines never explain is that the quality of wheelchair assistance often depends on communication, not availability. Many passengers receive poor experiences simply because they don't know what to say, when to say it, or how to set expectations. Wheelchair staff work under tight schedules, crowded terminals, and constant time pressure. When passengers stay silent, staff assume the fastest route and default procedures are acceptable. Seniors who speak up often receive significantly better experiences. One of the most important things to communicate is pace. If you need to move slowly, say so at the start. Staff can adjust their speed immediately. Another key detail is comfort. If you need restroom stops, water breaks, or time to stretch, mentioning it early allows staff to plan routes accordingly. Another overlooked communication tip is confirming your destination at every handoff. Airports often involve multiple staff members transferring responsibility. Politely confirming your gate, connection, or baggage claim prevents miscommunication. Another important point is advocating during delays. If your wheelchair hasn't arrived at the aircraft door upon landing, notifying a flight attendant immediately helps trigger follow-up. Many passengers wait silently, assuming it's coming, and end up stranded. Another hidden detail is tipping etiquette. In many regions, wheelchair assistant staff are not allowed to request tips, but some may accept them depending on local policy. Airlines don't clarify this, leaving passengers unsure. While tipping is never required, expressing appreciation verbally or asking politely about tipping rules can ease awkwardness. Another communication secret is escalation. If something goes wrong, asking for a supervisor or gate agent is acceptable. Airlines don't encourage this because it exposes gaps in service, but passengers are allowed to advocate for themselves. Another overlooked point is gratitude paired with clarity. Being polite while stating needs clearly leads to better cooperation. Wheelchair staff want to help, but they cannot read minds. When passengers understand that communication shapes the experience, wheelchair assistance becomes smoother, calmer, and far more effective. Knowing how to speak up transforms the service from basic transport into genuine support that protects your comfort and dignity throughout the journey. 7. Wheelchair assistance protects you from injuries. Airlines never talk about. One of the biggest reasons wheelchair assistance exists, and one airlines rarely talk about, is injury prevention. Airports are one of the most physically demanding environments people ever walk through, yet airlines normalize long distances, hard floors, sudden stops, and rushed movement. Seniors are especially vulnerable to falls, muscle strains, joint flare-ups, and exhaustion-related accidents. What airlines don't explain is that many reported airport injuries happen before passengers even board the plane. Walking miles through terminals, standing in security lines, lifting bags, and rushing to gates puts enormous strain on the body. Wheelchair assistance significantly reduces these risks. Another hidden danger is uneven pacing. Airports force passengers to alternate between rushing and waiting, which stresses the heart, lungs, and joints. For travelers with arthritis, balance issues, or circulation problems, this can cause pain that lasts for days after the flight. Wheelchair assistance creates a steady, controlled pace that protects the body. Another overlooked risk is fatigue masking warning signs. When travelers push themselves to just get through it, they may ignore dizziness, weakness, or shortness of breath until it becomes serious. Using assistance conserves energy and helps passengers arrive alert rather than depleted. Airlines don't emphasize this because acknowledging injury risk would raise liability questions. Another important point is that wheelchair assistance reduces fall risk during boarding and deplaning. Aircraft doorways, jet bridges, and aisle congestion are common fall zones. Assistance ensures stable movement and eliminates pressure from impatient crowds. Another hidden benefit is recovery preservation. Seniors often underestimate how long it takes to recover from travel strain. What feels manageable in the moment can lead to days of soreness or inflammation afterward. Wheelchair assistance protects not just the trip, but the days following it. Airlines rarely frame assistance as injury prevention, but that's exactly what it is. Using it isn't about comfort alone. It's about protecting your health in an environment designed for speed, not safety. 8. Using wheelchair assistance helps you advocate for yourself without conflict. Another secret airlines don't explain is how wheelchair assistance changes the power dynamic of travel in a positive way. When passengers struggle independently, They often feel rushed, ignored, or pressured to keep up. This leads to stress, embarrassment, and sometimes conflict. Wheelchair assistance gives you an advocate built into the system. Staff coordinating your movement communicate with security, gate agents, and flight attendants on your behalf. This reduces the need for passengers to repeatedly explain their needs. Seniors often avoid speaking up because they don't want to cause delays or draw attention. Assistance removes that burden. Another overlooked benefit is priority recognition. While wheelchair users are not guaranteed special treatment, their needs are acknowledged automatically. This can mean extra time during boarding, patience during security, and coordination during tight connections. Another important point is reduced confrontation. Passengers moving slowly on their own are often pressured by crowds or even airline staff to hurry. With wheelchair assistance, your pace is protected. You are no longer expected to rush or apologize. Another hidden advantage is clarity. Wheelchair assistance places you clearly within accessibility guidelines, which helps prevent misunderstandings. If issues arise, staff are more likely to resolve them calmly rather than challenge you. Another benefit is emotional relief. Travel can make seniors feel invisible or burdensome. Assistance validates that your comfort matters. Airlines don't advertise this because it reframes assistance as empowerment, not limitation. Using wheelchair assistance doesn't mean giving up independence. It means choosing support that allows you to travel with dignity, confidence, and calm. When passengers understand this, the airport becomes less of a battle and more of a guided experience designed to protect their well-being. 9. Wheelchair assistance can be used strategically for long-term travel confidence. One secret airlines never explain is that using wheelchair assistance isn't just about one trip. It can change how confident you feel about traveling long-term. Many seniors quietly reduce travel over time, not because they don't want to go, but because airports have become physically and mentally overwhelming. Long walks, uncertainty, fear of slowing others down, and worry about exhaustion slowly push people away from flying altogether. Wheelchair assistance interrupts that decline. When used strategically, it allows travelers to preserve energy, reduce anxiety, and maintain independence over years, not just one journey. Another hidden benefit is predictability. When you use wheelchair assistance, your airport experience becomes more structured. You know someone will meet you, guide you, and help navigate transitions. This predictability reduces pre-trip anxiety, which is a major reason many seniors dread flying. Another overlooked advantage is confidence rebuilding. After a smooth assisted trip, many passengers realize flying isn't as difficult as they feared. This restores willingness to travel again. Airlines don't explain this psychological benefit because it's not measurable, but it's powerful. Another key point is stamina management. Traveling without assistance often uses all your energy just getting to the gate, leaving little left for enjoying your destination. Assistance helps you arrive with energy intact, making trips more enjoyable and sustainable. Another secret is habit formation. Once you learn how to request and use assistance properly, it becomes a normal part of planning, like booking seats or checking bags. This removes hesitation and embarrassment. Another long-term benefit is injury prevention over time. Repeated strain from travel compounds. Wheelchair assistance protects joints, circulation, and balance across multiple trips. Airlines rarely talk about cumulative strain, but bodies remember it. Another overlooked aspect is travel planning freedom. When you know assistance is available, you're more willing to book larger airports, longer itineraries, or connections you'd otherwise avoid. This expands your travel options instead of shrinking them. Wheelchair assistance isn't a sign of decline. It's a tool that allows travelers to keep flying confidently as airports grow larger and more demanding. Using it strategically helps you stay mobile, independent, and engaged with the world instead of quietly giving up travel altogether. 10. The biggest secret is that wheelchair assistance is about dignity, not dependency. The final and most important secret airlines never explain is that wheelchair assistance is fundamentally about dignity. Many passengers resist using it because they associate it with dependency or loss of independence. Airlines don't challenge this misconception, which allows unnecessary suffering to continue. In reality, dignity in travel means being able to move safely, calmly, and without pressure. Wheelchair assistance restores that dignity. Another overlooked truth is that modern airports are not designed for aging bodies. They prioritize efficiency, speed, and volume, not comfort or accessibility. Expecting passengers to adapt endlessly to these environments is unrealistic. Assistance exists to bridge that gap. Another key point is choice. Dignity comes from having options. Wheelchair assistance gives you the option to conserve energy, avoid pain, and travel on your terms. Choosing assistance is an act of self-respect, not surrender. Another hidden benefit is emotional validation. Many seniors feel invisible in airports. Assistance makes their needs visible in a respectful, structured way. Staff recognize and accommodate without argument. Another aspect airlines don't emphasize is reduced shame. When assistance is normalized, there's no need to apologize for moving slowly or needing help. You are supported by design. Another important point is independence preservation. Paradoxically, using assistance often allows travelers to remain independent longer. By preventing injuries and exhaustion, passengers avoid setbacks that could limit future mobility. Another overlooked truth is legacy. Traveling comfortably allows seniors to continue visiting family, attending events, and experiencing the world. Assistance makes that possible without physical sacrifice. Airlines don't frame it this way because dignity is not a metric, but for travelers, it's everything. Wheelchair assistance isn't about giving something up. It's about protecting your right to travel with respect, comfort, and confidence in an environment that has outgrown the human body. Wheelchair assistance is one of the most misunderstood services in air travel, not because it's complicated, but because airlines rarely explain it clearly. When passengers don't understand how it works, they either avoid it entirely or use it incorrectly, missing out on support that could make travel safer and far less exhausting. The truth is, wheelchair assistance exists to protect your health, preserve your energy, and restore dignity in airports that are bigger, faster, and more demanding than ever before. Using it doesn't mean you're giving something up. It means you're choosing to travel smarter and with confidence. If this video helped clear up confusion or changed how you think about airport assistance, take a moment to like it so more travelers can see this information. Subscribe to the channel for honest travel advice. Airlines don't always explain, especially as rules and airport systems continue evolving. We focus on practical guidance that helps seniors and frequent flyers travel comfortably without unnecessary stress. And if you know someone who struggles through airports but refuses to ask for help, share this video with them. It could completely change their travel experience. Flying should never feel like a test of endurance. With the right knowledge and the right support, it can be calm, safe, and empowering. Thanks for watching, safe travels, and we'll see you in the next video.